This time we have a Sony EVS7000. Now this was Sony's top of the line Hi8 deck for home use. It had editing features galore, time-based corrector. It even has PCM audio that you can dub in after the fact and have hi-fi stereo sound. This one came in, it's completely dead. So we're going to go into this one and see if we can figure out what's wrong with it. I guarantee it's in the power supply. It says no power. Well, let's plug it in and verify that it has. Well, the display lit up there momentarily. Watch this. It did. Trust me. I don't know if you saw it or not. I saw some characters come up on there when I first plugged it in. Like it tried to turn on and then shut down. Try that again. I'll let it just sit. Turn off the switch. It did. I swear to God, there was something that lit up there on that LCD display momentarily. But it's not now. We'll pop the unit apart. Looks like this unit has been well, the screws are missing from it for starters. Only 2 screws to hold the side on because someone took the side. This one had originally had like fake wood side covers that were held in place with longer screws. And they're not on there now. They've been removed. Because it's got no power, obviously we're going to start over at the power supply. Yes, I have the AC running for the first time this year out in the shop. But it's only going to be running for a few more minutes. I'm just trying to cool the place down a bit. The hydro power goes up by 5 cents a kilowatt hour in about 12 minutes, so I'll be shutting it down. I'm on time of day billing, so basically how that works is from 4 o'clock until I think it's 9 o'clock. The rates go up, and then they return to normal at 9 o'clock, and then at 11 o'clock at night they drop even cheaper. So 11 o'clock at night is when I run things like the hot water heater, the central AC and stuff. I try to keep things down in the expensive time. I'll plug this in one more time here before I pull the power supply and see whether maybe some caps have discharged and it's going to try to kick. There, you see? It did kick. So it's not totally dead, it's just not starting up. That's a big clue for those of us in the know. Tells me where to start looking. That's a good sign. That means at least the power supply is trying to start. I gotta remember how to take this one out on this one. It's been a while. 2 screws in the side, I believe, that have to come out. I should know how to do this because I've certainly done a few of them. I've got 2 machines like this myself. These ones here are the ones that have the notorious gear that breaks. It's probably already broken on this one. I should inspect that before I get into this too deep. Because if the gear is broken, if it's cracked, then there's more issues than that. Don't let all those little through-hole caps on the main board fool you. They do fail. And I'm sure that's what's wrong with mine and why the AFM audio on one of mine is foobar. We'll be working on that at some point when I get time. When I've got nothing better to do, that's when I work on my own stuff. The power supply will lift out now. Forget how to take this one apart. The board will lift out on this. Board lifts out on these ones. We're going to check the ESR on some of these caps, and because of the way this thing's tried to start, I don't know, it could be, well, any of them could be bad, right? But I mean, these did have bad caps in them. But quite often it's these ones over here on the primary side that give us trouble. When it's not starting properly, for example, or shutting down. That's the oscillator side, so quite often that will give it the trouble. Now, because this thing, the way it did operate, I'm going to make sure that the main filter cap is actually discharged, because if the oscillator is not running, the main filter cap won't discharge, and it can store quite a bit of juice here for a bit. So let's get the voltmeter out and we'll look at this big crap down here and see if this thing is still charged, which it is. It's still got 14 volts on it. This would be, you know, a couple hundred volts when it's fully charged, but it's down to 14 volts now. We'll just zero it out. The same with all the others. Normally, when the power supply is operating and you take the power off, that capacitor would discharge because the oscillator's running, the output's running. Zeroed out. Okay, now it'll drain it down. Nothing on here, which there's not. 0.5 volts. It's safe. Now I can go in here with the ESR meter and not have to worry about cooking it. The three caps that I'm most interested in checking are these ones down here. We'll zero out the ESR and check these caps. 1.1, that's probably okay. 1.3, that one's probably okay too. What about 55? Is that 55? Yeah, yeah. C012 is obviously no good. So we'll start by changing that one. Now, if you wonder why I went right to these caps here, well, I did consult with YouTube. I asked Dr. YouTube what the problem might be, and I found a certain video by a channel called 12 Volt Vids, which basically serviced one of these things and told me what to look for. Ha 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 ha. Yes, I do sometimes consult my own videos when I know that I've had this fault before, but I don't remember exactly what it was. And hey, I'll go and look at my own stuff before I look at anybody else's and refresh my memory. I think it's probably that one that's causing it. That's the culprit for this one, for it not starting. I think the last one I had, it was one of these little caps too that was making the unit squeal when the motors went to come on. It squealed. I got to clean this solder sucker because it seems to be kind of clogged up. There we go. All right, let's pull this bad cap. I have a sneaking suspicion I'm going to have to change the tip of my soldering iron at some point. Looks like it's getting pretty ratty. It's got a big notch missing out of it. I've done well. This one's been on here for quite a long time. I do have spares, and I try to get the most use I can out of them before I change them out. For those of you wondering, that's a Weller EC2000 soldering iron I'm using. That is like over 40 years old. I remember the owner's son was playing in the shop one Saturday and he cut the cord and it cost the boss like $400 to fix it. You think it's toast? Well, we know it's toast. We know it's toast, but... Anyway, the thermocouple that measures the temperature finally failed, and I had a viewer a few years ago that said he had one and he was going to send it to me, and he did. And it's been great. It's bad. This is a 56 microfarad at 35 volts. I'm not going to have a 56. No, don't have that, but I will have a 49. Or a 47, I should say. 47 should do it. 47 at 50 volts will probably be more than adequate. Anyway, the fellow that sent it to me, he works in a recycling center, and somebody threw it out. He threw my bin of. So he said, "Hey, I'll ship it to you." Find a good Chinesium one. It's been a great iron. 47, I bought some tips for it. It's the best soldering iron I've ever used. Is this one? Well worth the $400 that it was when I first bought it. Dig them out with pliers. Stick my fingers in there and try to lift the caps out, and I end up pulling out the dividers, and then they all get mixed up. That's a 25 volt. That's too low. This one was 35, so that's a 25. That won't do. Actually, I think it was more than $400, but I bought it at a place called Active Components way back and used it. It's a 63. Basically for my entire career when I was working at the TV shop. As I said, the owner's son, he was playing in the back because the boss used to have to babysit him on Saturdays when he was like 3 years old.
I guess that's all I've got is 63.
Cut the cord
had some 50s.
and blew up the controller, and I made the owner buy me a new one. We couldn't buy me a new one; they didn't make it.
16.
He sent it off to Weller, and it took them like 6 months, and they fixed it for the cost of what the unit was new.
50, but I'll go with the 63. The hell, the 63 is fine. 63 will be more than good enough.
You can imagine my reaction when I walked in on Monday morning and the cord was cut to the iron, and the iron was dead because, of course, it was on.
Of course,
and it shorted out. Boss said I shouldn't have had my own iron there that was that expensive, and he offered to get me a cheap one, and I said, nope, I want this one fixed. And I made him fix it, and he wasn't happy.
We'll pop the new one in, and then I'll try this out and see whether it starts up.
But then the old boss was never happy about anything. He was a grade A, if you know what I mean.
And then we'll take it from there and see what else is ailing this unit, because you know it's going to have more problems than this. This is not going to be the only problem on this machine. It could very well need all the time-based corrector caps changed on it, like every other one that I've seen.
But then again, I might be wrong. This might be the only problem on here. But nah, it's got to have more than this, right? It's not going to be that simple. No way.
You know, what I'll do is I'll check the other caps on the secondary while I'm at it. There's 6 of them. We just have to unsolder one lead because there's 2 of them in parallel with each other with a little coil in between them, so we have to disconnect one of the 2 just so that I can get a good reading on the individual caps. So with that one disconnected, I can check the 2 on the 12 volt rail and then the 2 on the 5 volt rail and so forth. So this one here, C26, that looks okay. C27 is this one. That looks okay. The next one is down here. I can just disconnect it right here. Might help if I prime the solder sucker. That one there is now free as a bird. So I can look at this one. That one's good, and then the other side to that one is that one, and that one's good. And then there's one more set down here. Where are they? There's this one here. Just pop this one off. That one's open. That one looks to be good as well. And then there's this little guy over here, C021.1. I think we're okay. I think our secondaries are all okay on this one. So let's just reconnect them. Pop the board back in and see whether it lights up. I gotta put these bottom screws in here because they are grounding screws. So I gotta put those in. It probably would work with it out, but what the hell, eh? I'll put them in. I gotta get this down here correctly. These are like that. Okay, that's there. That's done. I will throw the cover on top, just because well, maybe I'll plug it in without the cover on it. I mean, what's it gonna do? Nothing. As long as this isn't shorting out to anything. Just want to see if it turns on, right? Okay, let's hit the power. Oh, look, it lit up. It turns on. Okay, I fixed one problem. I'll put the power supply back together, and then we'll see if this thing works. See what other things are wrong with it, because I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be other things wrong with this. I mean, I'll be surprised if there's nothing else wrong with this. Okay, it'll be a shock if the TBC board is not bad and this thing works. I'll be surprised, because all these machines of this age they're just at that point where they need a little help to keep working. All right, got it powered up. I got a please set the clock message. That means that part works. The fluorescent display appears to work. Let's see what happens if I try to load a tape. Will the tape load? Well, that's good. That's a good sign. Is it going to play? It is playing. SP. Looks like there might be a bit of an alignment issue that I may have to tweak. Looks like maybe one of the guides here might be a little bit loose. I'll show you the picture. As we can see, the alignment looks to be a bit on a whack on this one. But I do have a tweaker, so we'll just try tweaking the guides a bit. Actually, you know what? I don't think it's the guides. It's making strange sounds. But we'll see. That is just the guide, just the exit guide. That was it. The exit guide's loose. Looks like someone's been clipped onto here before, because one of the pins is bent, which generally means it's somebody's been probing around in here with a scope probe. We just got to clip on here and take a look at the waveform. Okay, there's the waveform. That was just by eyeballing it. Channel 2 is a little bit on the low side over here, or the exit, or the exit guide. That's the one on the right that I just showed you. That's the one that was loose. So if I tweak that, I can make it better or worse. I just made it worse. That's actually not looking too bad. Not looking too bad at all. This thing's making noises when it's playing. I'm shutting the AC off just so we can hear it. I'll turn the sound on the TV. This tape should have PCM on it too. Oh, you know what that noise is? The noise I'm hearing, I'll show you. It's the switches on this stupid thing. I guess one of the switches is not detecting it's out all the way and it's trembling. This has a little switch that detects whether it's in or out, and I guess it was
Here's what this rattling sound that, oh, wait a minute, this thing's pushing. It's, yeah, open and close it a few times and it should solve that problem. So there's the PCM soundtrack playing, because this tape has PCM, and then there's the normal audio, and I can mix the two together. See? And standard. So it's working. That was the fault on this. I need to tighten down that guide so that that screw doesn't move. So we'll just remove the tape. Oh, come on. Open and close it a few times and it should probably clean that switch up, because I really don't feel like getting in there, and I don't feel like taking it all apart to get to it. Unfortunately, the little lock screws are right down here, so I gotta do it with the tape loaded. Oh, this is gonna be fun, because yesterday when I was sealing up a package, I went to use my little screwdriver, my little tiny little screwdriver, just to cut the tape, right? When I was packing tape, just to snap it so I could cut it off. And I dropped it, and I heard it go ting when it hit the ground, and it bounced somewhere, and I haven't found it yet. It's not directly below me. It must have bounced in under the bench or something. And of course there's stuff under the bench, so I have to dig in there to get it. So I'm going to find another small screwdriver that might fit. I should have some in here. It's a small Phillips, like a quadruple 0, I think is what it might be. Anyway, it's going to be hard to reach. It's right here. I'm going to try to just turn that a little bit tighter, just so that the guide can't move. Okay, I think I got it. And the other one is on this side, which is more difficult to get to, but it wasn't loose anyway. This other one didn't move. This one was quite loose. This one here is yeah, this one's tight, you see? That one's not moving. This one here did. This one here, it turned freely. And that was the one that the alignment was a bit out on. So, corrected that. Changed out the one cap that was bad in the power supply. And did an alignment. This unit is now functional. I haven't checked that gear. We'll take a look at the gear. Okay, this is the one that we're looking at down here. I'm just going to turn it with something. I will inspect it and see if I see any cracks in the ring gear here. This one here. Oh yeah, it's been cracked. It looks like it's been fixed. It looks like it's been. You can see it right there. That's had a crack in it, and it has been fixed with a tip of a soldering iron. I might have done it. I may have fixed this one before. In fact, I may have even done the. You may have even done the TBC on this. We'll look and see whether it's my work in here, because this is one of my my clients that I maintain his equipment for. So I don't remember whether I've worked on this one before for him or not. I may have, but that's been repaired. You can clearly see that has been cracked, and that's what happens on all of these units. Is that stupid gear? That stupid gear cracks, and this one's been fixed right there. You can see where it was pulled back together. There's another crack right there on the outside of this one. But yeah, it's just that one spot right there. But it's holding up. Now what causes that is the way that was manufactured. The big problem with these units is the gear itself, it's made up of nylon and steel disc.
And maybe I can illustrate it here for you if I can find a pen. Kind of draw what the thing sort of looks like. So this, good pen. This would be like a cross section. So if this is the hub, and the hub kind of looks like this, this would be the cross section, right? Well, it goes up more like that. This is the hub that has the tape on it, right? And it's got this ring around the outside that it goes all the way around. You can see, and then this is the top portion of it, and on the bottom of this is a little magnet that kind of protrudes all the way around, and you can see it sticking down there, but there's a magnet that goes around here on the bottom that sticks out. And then there's the lower gear assembly that this sits into is it's a ring gear. If I can draw this, I'm terrible at drawing. But basically there's a metal disc which has a little bearing, little plastic bearing that fits over that's where the pin goes through, right? That it sits on. It's got this metal disc, and then it's got this plastic gear that's on there, right? And this is the gear that meshes with the pendulum arm. And how it works is these are held apart by a little spacer, so they aren't actually touching. But what happens is this magnet is maybe a millimeter away from the steel base. That this is what's being driven. This is turning. And the magnetic field produced between the metal disc and the magnet is what limits the amount of torque that is supplied to the tape. That keeps your torque constant. Whether you're in fast forward or rewind or play, the torque stays constant. This was their solution as opposed to using felt pads, because most VCRs used a clutch made out of felt. The problem with the felt clutch was many. They wore out, for one, but two, they did not give uniform torque, depending on the slip ratio required. So when the tape is at the beginning and there's a little bit of tape on the hub, and it's turning faster, you don't need as much torque as you do when the tape is full and it's turning slower. And the older style of clutch with the felt pad did not give you a linear response depending on how much slip was required. There's more slip required when the gear is being driven at a constant speed and the hub is turning slower. There's more slip required. The magnetic clutch is linear, and it stays linear at all times regardless on the speed. So it was deemed to be that it was a superior way of doing it. The problem that arises is that you've got this metal disc, and in the middle it's got the hub for the mounting pin, and then you've got this other plastic disc that's around it. And what happens, and this is the one with the teeth in it, right? This is the outside of the gear. What happens is, over time, the plastic starts to shrink. And the metal disc obviously doesn't shrink. And eventually something's going to break, and it's the plastic. It cracks. You get a crack, and then the teeth open up, and then it starts to eat tapes and starts to do all kinds of other bad things that happen when the plastic gear opens up. And it does it 100% of the time on these machines. I'm also seeing many camcorders that it's happened to as well. I want to check the time-based corrector on this and just see whether it has been done. Because I think maybe I did this one. Maybe not, but let's find out. If it's still full of surface-mounted caps, then it hasn't been done, because I don't replace it with surface-mounted caps. I'm trying to remember how this thing comes out. It does just clip out of here. Just like this. Okay. Has it been fixed or not?
keep it while we're opening it up. This one is original, so it has not been done yet, but it's still working. But at some point in time, so maybe somebody else did the soldering iron trick on this. Maybe it wasn't me. But at some point in time, these are all going to need to be replaced. But at this point in time, they're working, so I'm not going to touch it. But at some point, he's going to turn this thing on, and the picture's going to be all red and blue stripes, and it's going to look like crap, and then we're going to have to deal with that then. They're kind of a pain to do. And it will happen. But it was brought to me to solve the power issue, not for a bad picture. And say at this point in time, they're working fine. I've done several of them though. Like I had to do my own, and in fact, both of the units that I've got now, I've got two of them because somebody gave me one. Yes, people give me stuff like this. I get all, people say, "Oh, this vintage equipment sells for a lot of money." Well, I guess if you're looking on ePay, you're going to pay a lot of money for them. But a lot of this equipment is available really quite reasonable, and by quite reasonable I mean people are giving this stuff away. So I bought one when it was new. That's the one that's got no. It's got no analog sound now. I got to deal with that at some point. And anyway, that's this one. This one's working. It's got analog. It's got hi-fi sound, AFM sound, and it's got PCM sound, and the picture looks great. So one cap that went bad in the power supply, changed that out. This one's now fixed, and we're gonna leave it at that. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.